I didn't see you guys there. Welcome back to another episode of North Country. Let's get right into it. Right, welcome back. It's actually been a lot longer than I thought. I know that I said last time that I'm going to be coming out with these episodes a lot sooner. I actually had a lot of the content for episode 4 filmed. I just was not able to get the talking head and the intro finished in time for you guys. But either way, let's just get right into this episode. With this episode, there's a lot of things that I've never done before within Italian Adventure Resort. So I'm really excited to show you guys a lot of this new stuff. Just like always, I did start this episode with working on the terrain, build up the berm around North Country to make it look a little bit more like Yosemite Valley. I was kind of inspired a little bit with this section by the coast of Oregon with cliffs. Obviously there's no water within this scene here, but I wanted to add a little bit more dimension and have the trees on top of the cliffs. This specific area that I'm working on, first I wasn't quite sure what I was going to build. I was planning on possibly just putting some trees down, some nature, and then it came to me. I wanted to do something that I've never done before within my theme park. That's to go ahead and create a little bit of like a playground space. I want to make North Country open to everyone of all different ages. There's the thrills for like the younger folk or like the teens or adults that wanted to go on Bear Rapids. There's a little bit more exploration for all ages with the North Country Exploration Trail. And now I also wanted to make something for the younger kids too. There's also now going to be a playground space. The playground space is called the Critter Camp Play Area. So this is a playground that's going to include slides. It's going to include like the indoor little like cabin space. It's inspired by rustic log cabin style, but in a playground. So it was a lot of fun of kind of just making different elements. I wanted to make it fun and playful for kids, but also still looking like it fits into the North Country vibe. This playground was a little bit inspired by a playground that I used to go to when I was younger. It's called Alpine Park. Alpine Park was about maybe a mile or two away from my house. It was a nice walk and we would go to it pretty often. As I grew up, we mostly did Alpine Park for sledding and then just doing hikes, but the playground was always fun. They had a tire swing, so you'll see later that I do add a tire swing to Critter Camp Play Area. But just something about this play area was just so fun and charming to me. It was like something I've never done. It's not accessible to the NPC, so we're just gonna have to use our imagination here. And I wanted to have it be a little bit inspired by like the Redwood Creek Trail that Disney's California Adventure has, but still kind of its own twist. There's log benches for the parents to sit on as they watch their kids. When you're inside the playground itself, you get a really great view of Kodiak Peak, and in general it's just a fun little area, and I continue to expand it later as I work throughout this video. It means a lot to me, and I think it came out looking a lot better than I had expected. Another area that I decided to work on that I've never done anything like this before in Italian Adventure Resort, a springs/spa area. I was working on the terrain. I wanted it to be kind of like a valley, like I had spoken about when I was building the queue for Bear Rapids. I wanted there to be a little bit of an outdoor space where you get to see like a waterfall or some water as you're going into the queue. Yes, you're in it, but I also wanted there to be a little bit of an outdoor space too, and that's gonna be inspired by like, you know, rustic log cabin kind of style with the outside. But on the other side of the waterfall and the trees is gonna be a hidden hot springs. This is gonna be an exclusive experience for Italian Adventure Resort goers. The concept of it was, which you guys are gonna see in a moment, Evergreen Lodge, which is gonna be like the main food lounge lobby area for North Country. There's going to be an entrance for Kodiak Springs, which is the name of this spa. It's going to be reservation only, so you'd make like the reservation ahead of time, or you'd come up to the desk to see if they have any reservations available. It's going to lead you to the locker rooms and the shower rooms for after you're finished, for you to change from your regular park clothes into swimwear. Towels will be provided by Italian Adventure Resort as part of your reservation package. As you change, you kind of head off into the hallways that lead into the Kodiak Springs area, where there's going to be a little bit of a lobby just for Kodiak Springs for those who are a little tired of being inside the hot springs. It will literally be, like you might see on the screen, a hot springs that's kind of like secluded. So it's a community shared hot springs for reservation and park goers. After you take your dip, you can go ahead and hang out in the lobby. If you're ready, you go back to the locker rooms, take a shower, and then you change right back into your regular park-over clothes. That way you're still able to enjoy the rest of Italian Adventure Resort in North Country. A little bit of a unique, different idea that I've never done before, but I thought it would be so nice, almost in a way elevating North Country to not only just being like a fun land where you go around and you're just like riding rides. This is more of like an all-around experience. And like I've spoken within the first 2 episodes, North Country is going to be the place that you go to relax in Italian Adventure Resort after you've had like a really long day, you know, riding the thrill rides, you know, watching the fireworks, whatever. North Country is that quiet area where you can take the hike through the exploration trail, you can take your kids to Critter Camp play area. There's obviously going to be the new Evergreen Lodge in addition to Kodiak Springs if you wanted to take a dip in like the hot springs. Speaking of Evergreen Lodge, so Evergreen Lodge is going to be the facade, or really in the inside it's the lodge itself, but the facade of Evergreen Lodge is going to be inspired by Old Faithful Inn, which is a historic inn that's in Yellowstone next to Old Faithful. I was very inspired by the architecture of the building as I was looking through different cabins or like resorts to inspire what this outside of the lodge was going to look like. The Old Faithful Inn just had that charm, plus a lot of great history behind it too. It's actually one of like the first architecture like cabin style resorts that were built, and it's kind of what inspired more resorts to look in that style. If anyone's ever been to Disney's Wilderness Lodge, which is another space that I was inspired by when creating the Evergreen Lodge, you'll kind of see a little bit of similarities. I learned some new techniques of how I can add a little bit more dimension and depth to my stuff. I also use forced perspective for the windows, as the lodge or the exterior, the facade of it was not that large, but as you go up I was able to make the windows look smaller to kind of give more depth and height to the lodge itself, while also not competing with Kodiak Peak and then Half Dome in the distance too. It came out looking really beautiful on the outside. Obviously the second floor and balcony are not accessible. When I have my character go on the second floor, it kind of ruins the illusion where you can see, okay, this is actually like really tiny. But when you're on that first floor just walking into the lodge itself, the illusion is there. Another really fun thing that I wanted to do is, like I spoke with the Critter Camp play area, I wanted to add a little bit more elements to make it a little bit more exciting. I did add a tire swing, but I also wanted to add, like I spoke in the last episode, Smokey the Bear. He's such a huge icon, especially with national parks and in general wilderness. I wanted to incorporate him. I made my own model of Smokey the Bear. Yeah, he does not look perfect, but honestly, for something that I could make in Theme Park Tycoon too, I think it came out really nice. I was initially contemplating just using like an image. I think it would take away from just the authenticity or like the vibe of North Country. Like, I'm not really using any images here. Everything so far has been actual practical pieces and sets in North Country. If there was a place like North Country within like any of the parks that I visit, I think that it would be one of my favorite areas just because of how quiet it is. I've been very proud of how North Country has been looking so far. If you guys are enjoying it, make sure to leave me some feedback in the comments or thumbs up. I would love to see it. I would love to hear it too. Another thing that I finished within this episode was the North Country train station. I know that I started working on it in, I believe, the first or the second episode. This episode I finally finished it. I was able to finish the roofing on it and then the rock work that kind of goes behind it. The rock work is going to be really super important within episode 5 because episode 5, spoiler, I'm already finished with it. I'm recording the talking head right now too, when Bear Rapids and really the entire area is finished. I think that the rail station came out looking really great, super beautiful. I think out of all the train stations that I have, besides maybe Freedom Land Station, this is one of my favorites here. It's a lot of fun. I also do have other train stations within like the Alps and other sections of the park, which I'll try to include some pictures of those stations. They're not the greatest, but they each have their own charm. After I finished the train station, I started kind of filling in the rest of the areas in North Country that didn't have trees or foliage. There's actually a very secret project that I'm going to be having. It's not going to be finished within this North Country series. It's going to be something that I'm going to be doing later. I plan on having possibly a second attraction for North Country to the left of the Evergreen Lodge facade. You may have saw that I put down some path and then I also covered it up with trees. Well, that's going to be a future expansion to North Country. I'm leaving a little bit of space. Right now I know Theme Park Tycoon 2 has a great selection of rides and different ride types, but I'm curious to see what will come next with updates in the future, and I feel like something unique and fun could be a great second attraction for North Country. As North Country Country itself does have one ride and many attractions, including the Grizzly Theater with the show, but I feel like having a second ride in addition to Bear Rapids might make it a little bit more fun in the future. Plus, it's kind of tucked away in the corner where it's not just all up in your face. There were a lot of different rides, flat rides that I was considering doing in North Country as I would put them in. They just did not fit. They did not fit the style. Some of them were either too large and they would ruin the perspective. I don't know, it just did not fit the North Country feel. That's why I'm very happy with how Bear Rapids worked out and looks like, which you'll get to see in episode 5. Continuing with this episode, because we're not going to be talking about future episodes right now, there is going to be that second attraction. If you guys have any ideas or you would like to see something specific with that second attraction, feel free to leave a comment below. But as we move on here, I finally did start working on the interior of Evergreen Lodge 2 within this episode. Like I mentioned, is going to be very inspired by the Wilderness Lodge with an open lobby or like center area. There's not only going to be 2 floors, but it's going to be stylized to look like there's 3 or 4 floors, as those 3rd and 4th floors are not going to be accessible, but it's just going to be there for the look. Within Evergreen Lodge is going to be the access to Kodiak Springs, which is that resort style spa that we had spoken about earlier. And then there's also going to be a redwood bar for the adults that want to grab a drink. And there's going to be a lobby area in the center, like you see me working on, with a fireplace. There's going to be some animal mounts like a bear. Throughout the lodge itself, different imageries and things inspired by different national parks throughout the US. It's going to be a very chill, just relaxed, mellow lobby, even though there is a lot going on within that area. Obviously Kodiak Springs, the restaurant on the 2nd floor, the bar, but in general the vibe is going to be just come in and relax, and that's kind of the idea of North Country in general. I think that that's a great stopping point. I do have a lot more content that is going to be available for you to see in episode 5, so I can't wait for you guys to see that. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 4. There's a lot more to come, and after episode 5, once I'm finished, I plan on doing a tour video. I know I had talked about tour videos in the past. They're coming. That's all I can say. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave some feedback or some recognition if you guys have it for me. I hope to see you on the next video. Goodbye.